son. Where'd you find this?
Buckle up, buttercups. It's time to get down to business. Oh, yeah. It's the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. Totally legit.
All right, everyone. We are back. Here it is the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. And returning for their second time on the show, we've got good friend and world traveler, Mo Motaleb.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on?
Welcome back to the show, dude. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Pretty good. Can't complain. A little tired. Just came off the road.
I was going to say, you've had a pretty epic run the past year. Why don't you just give us a brief rundown of what the past 12 months have been like for you?
Past 12 months, I can't even remember like half of it. But, I mean, just this month, just working on All-Star weekend with Hennessy, and a few other different agency teams that we work with there. That was pretty crazy. San Fran is crazy alone. That's this whole story in itself. San Fran, we worked on Travis Scott and Jordan, sneaker release in Las Vegas. That was pretty insane.
Dude, I love that video you posted of the cars rolling out.
Oh man, that one I was in a boom lift.
Sick.
I was in a boom lift. They're like, move this boom lift. I was like, all right. Just randomly, they're like, move this. Move the boom lift. As I'm moving it, all those cars start rolling out. So it's just like the perfect timing for that. Travis Scott and Jordan. I'm working on the Hennessy tour now. Just wrapped up the Espelon tour. Just tours, man. Tours, life. I just got a French bulldog.
Nice.
A fluffy Frenchie. Fluffy Frenchie's a little bit different. It's like a little gremlin, honestly. And like anywhere I go with this dog, everybody stops me. Just got a new dog. Traveling. I went to Italy.
Oh, where'd you go in Italy?
I went to Rome, man. Rome is a very interesting place. I don't know if you've ever been, but
I have not, but I would really love to go.
Rome is like, honestly, going there, it's like an old school New York. You know what I mean? It's like Italy's New York.
Yeah.
Just big city. You could bike, it's like, honestly, it's mind blowing because you could travel on scooters, bikes to get around. They have them everywhere. Like if you go to certain cities like Austin or something like that.
Yeah.
So they have them everywhere, and then you could travel around, bro. I hit that thing from like top to bottom.
Yeah.
Amazing food, so much scenery. The people are cool. The drinks are amazing. But me personally, like I like seeing scenery. So it's like, if your trees grow differently where you live, I want to see that. I want to see, how the architecture is. Why did they place these stones like this? Why are people doing stuff like this now? Like even McDonald's, bro. McDonald's over there. Dude, McDonald's over there, like you could eat that late at night and be like fine, you know what I mean, like not feel like
complete
dirt,
garbage.
Yes. And it was just a higher quality of everything, man. It was probably like just a different type of sandwich, everything. Like put us to shame. I said, why do we not have that same McDonald's over here? And I have no idea, because people would go every day if we had that. I mean, their stock would be doing a lot better.
yeah, seriously. And it all probably comes down to money, but they take food really seriously in Italy, so they're not willing to skimp.
It all comes down to money and scale for sure. Maybe they can't produce that at that scale, but I mean, if they could, man, oh my God, like game changer.
Have you tried the McDonald's lasagna? It's really good.
I mean, it wasn't even like lasagna. It was just like, excuse me. It was just like the same chicken sandwich, but
just the specific ingredients were higher quality.
Specific ingredients were higher quality. Just a different, just a different approach. It wasn't just like, here's a chicken sandwich with mayonnaise and lettuce. It was just like, it was like just more thought process into it, which I'm like,
Yeah.
Ingredients hard to source sometimes, but like thought process is always right here. There's no reason why they can't do it. So. But yeah, food out there was amazing, man. Down to, again, even the McDonald's was better.
And that was pure vacation. You weren't working or anything out there.
That was vacation. It was my birthday, August 30th. So I was like,
Oh yeah.
I think that first week of September, I just jetted out. It was a little bit random. A few coworkers had recommended that I go. So I was like, all right, let me, and a few people I know. So I was like, let me just book the flight, man. I booked the flight on, forgot the Norse, which is honestly like really great prices to go to Europe. And on the flight back, I had like 9 seats to myself, dude. It was like empty flight. Like I was living like a king on the plane. Seriously.
That's amazing.
Like, not a person near me in sight. So it was crazy. So, but yeah, man, Italy was fun. The rest was just like family stuff, man. Just family. My sister had twins.
Amazing. Congrats to her.
Yes, thank you, man. Beautiful, beautiful boys. Jason, Bryce. Honestly, there's no better feeling than that. Honestly, if I'd say one thing was the highlight, it's got to be those little guys right there.
Yeah, sure. And how does it feel being an uncle?
I mean, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world, man. I always say it's like maybe I don't know how, I don't have kids, so I don't know how it feels to have kids, but like maybe close to having kids, but then being able to give them back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
under just enough space,
like you're like you guys are with me, but you're not with me. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and you get to be like the cool uncle. There has to be also a part that's like, you get to watch these kids grow and help introduce them to music when they're old enough for the appropriate tunes. And
dude, my nephew, I have a niece, nephew, and now two newborn nephews. My nephew that's older, he's about 9, 10. Bro, he had like the drum machine in his room, and he's got like a DJ controller in his room. It's like me and him would be in there, we're just jamming, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like the coolest stuff. Like,
that's awesome. Yeah,
like,
no, hell yeah.
listening to music, like teaching them stuff, like, that's what life is about too, right? It's like, you learn stuff and you teach it to the younger generation faster, so that when as they grow up, they're more advanced than us, right? That's the goal in life, is to always keep progressing, and that's one way. Hopefully he's gonna be nice at DJing or whatever he wants to do. And my niece,
sure,
she loves basketball and soccer, so it's like trying to give her little pointers. I'm not a professional, but I
share enthusiasm. Yeah,
comprehend the game. What I mean, a little bit, exactly. Like, amateur means love for the game, love for whatever, right? And so even if you're an amateur, it's like if you love it, then you could understand it, comprehend it, and help somebody else learn it and love it too. So
yeah, it's so sick. I mean, I don't know if you were like this, but for most of my life, I was pretty adverse to the idea of kids. But definitely, the older I'm getting, and the more I'm like balancing what I do with my life for work and like what my life is actually about, the more appealing the idea of kids becomes. And then definitely my view of what is important. Like anymore, the only thing that matters to me is family shit. Like the rest of the stuff that's occurring all around me is fucking transitory. The family stuff that's the only stuff that matters.
Well, it's crazy because like, to me, like, you're right. If you asked your parents or any of the older generation, they were like, we were telling you that the whole entire time.
Yeah, right.
The whole entire time you're growing up, we told you that. But like, right, that's what it dwindles down to, bro. Like, this is important to me, and everything else becomes secondary, because no matter what stage you're at in your life, your family is always there. Like, you can't, it's almost like, I mean, I know some people do, but like, really, you can't get away from, for the most part, you can't get away from your family in a good way too. Like, they're there through thick and thin. So, it's not like friends. Friends come and go. Family is like, you still got the same mom, same dad, your sisters, your brothers, your uncles. They're always gonna be there. And different stages of life, you'll have to, you'll have to do things together. And it's just like, make decisions together. Welcome family members together, put family members to rest together.
Say goodbye to family members.
You always, those things, we always do them together. So, hopefully, so, yeah, family just, I feel like it was always important to me, but now, with the younger generation, it's more important. And I remember hearing this, it's probably a little bit negative, but also like very, it has a positive spin to it too, where they were like, sometimes there's older generations, you can't really do anything with them. They're so set in their ways. So you have to kind of focus on the younger generations just to, they're just more malleable and can just, they can be helped and coached in the right way to live a better life than it is to like work with an older person and try to do that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, kind of like the can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of idea.
100%. You just said the same thing in like 4 words for sure.
Well, I mean, yours is definitely more. I just compared them to dogs, so I think yours is definitely more reasonable than mine. But definitely, I would agree with that. And I also find it interesting too how our generation, like every generation has dealt with their shit. Like every generation has had its problems, right? Our generation has had a lot of very strange, like traumatic problems. 9/11, 2008, COVID. Like there's a lot of things that has numbed us to this life.
Housing crisis.
Yeah, that's
right. 2008.
2008, like the whole financial thing, and presidency after presidency of stupid and corruption. I know most people in our generation are kind of starting to see through the illusion, but the younger generation, I love that they don't give a shit. They're like so sarcastic and anti-establishment. It's put me when I was 12 years old to shame, dude.
I was gonna say we did the same thing when we were kids, man. But like, yeah, I mean, of course it's amplified now. They have stronger voices via social media.
Social media, yeah, sure.
Social media, and they just they think differently. Imagine we rebelled against our older generations, our parents and whatnot, and authorities. I mean, imagine what they're gonna do to us.
Yeah, I mean? No, really. That's the point I'm saying here is like looking at them now, like they're gonna grow up to be pretty radical. But to me, this is like I am this way because I responded to the input. Like society was the way that it was, and I had the reactions that I had to it because of that. And I can't necessarily say that the younger generations are acting like irrationally. I think about what our childhood was like, and then think about what their childhood has been like.
I mean, just growing up with just think about how many more influences there are.
Yeah, dude. Social media, that's like a whole aspect of life now that wasn't really for us until we were like, late teenagers.
I mean, we had TV at most, you know what I mean? Like that really, affected you outside of your immediate family, friends, and neighborhood. But like now you have the whole world at your fingertips, right? In a good way and a bad way. So it's just, again, stress and family, man. That's why it's important that, you keep an eye on people and just see, what are you into? What have you been doing? Because the internet can steer you in the wrong direction and you would not even know, just trying to avoid those pitfalls and, keep your feed as like clean as possible, man. Honestly, like that's it, because yeah. Because I get fixated on the wrong thing. I feel like even if it's a good thing, it could be bad.
Dude, the algorithm is literally designed to make us do that. It's like custom tailored to make each one of us do that.
Like, I print my brain out, put it on paper, right? Like,
yeah, no, really. That's the ideal goal, is to be able to understand you by your social interactions. Like, there's a part of me that, like, I love that younger kids have the technology that we have now. And I think if they're using it constructively, they could be like compared to AI by the time they're adults, like how they have interfaced and been able to interface with technology.
Is that good or bad?
Well, that's the point, is like, it must be scary as a parent, trying to like find that balance and be like, my kid has to know how to use technology because we live in a technological world.
Yeah.
But I don't want my kids so dependent on the iPad that they go through like withdrawal syndromes when they don't have it.
It's real, man. I mean, and who knows? Like in the future, you're gonna have some kind of, you're gonna have some kind of technology that just travels with you all the time, like a cell phone, but just like maybe even more, obviously more advanced
or embedded.
So, yeah, it's
straight up embedded in our bodies.
It's not like when they grow older they're gonna get away from it. I feel like it's just like, are you addicted to your iPad because you want to watch YouTube videos or play a game? Like how do you, with a kid, how do you turn that into something constructive at all?
Yeah.
I guess Minecraft isn't that bad, but then, anything where you spend 20 hours a day not moving is bad, right? Or
yeah,
2 hours, 3 hours, but that's bad. But playing video games, we used to play video games for hours, when we were younger, and then your hands start hurting, your parents like, go eat something, it's the same. Like, what are you doing when you get off the iPad? Might be more important. I don't know. All right.
It almost always is. Whatever you're doing off the iPad is almost always more important than what we're doing on the iPad.
For sure.
I've too, like a tech neck. I don't know if you experience that at all, but like,
oh yeah.
I've been feeling that super hardcore, and I've been trying to like correct myself where I can. But that's another thing that like really scares me for like the future of humanity, because we're all like curled up like little shrimps looking at our devices. That
image of the man evolving, right? Like,
just curling over. Yeah,
evolves. Yeah,
It's that's, and like the blue screens on our eyes and ear pods in our ears, just like slowly degrading our vision and hearing. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know if you partake, but to me, it's like vaping, where it's like we don't know enough yet to be like, is this better than smoking? Is this not? Is smoking good for you? I mean, obviously it's not, So.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing's better than air.
But then, all right. I mean, that could be questionable too, but like, I mean, what if you're inhaling vape air? Then it's like, but yeah, man, I mean, that's the thing, is like, we're in an exciting part in life where it's just like, all this stuff is happening, man. It's like Starlink satellites, hate to shout out that, but whatever, the satellites, the AI, the robots. I just saw robots doing chores.
Did you see that muscular robot that was like hanging up and twitching? Let me see if I
didn't see that. Was he working out? That would be pretty cool. But I mean, I just saw a robot the other day that just like, it was kind of like not as like skeletal and like it was like a little like a light version of a robot, and I was just like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like just doing chores around the house. And yeah, man, I mean, sometimes we think that's a lot further away, but it's here. We've had cell phones. I mean, maybe some other people had them before me, but like 20 years now ish.
Yeah,
years now. The iPhone came out, 2013.
The masses have had cell phones for a while, but like the first actual portable phones, they had those in the 60s.
Well, smartphones. Sorry, I more meant smartphones, not
smartphones. Yeah, early, probably like 2003. I think is when the first iPhone came out, like early 2000s. Yeah, it was early as shit, because it was right around the same time the iPod, like the real big deal iPod came out.
I was thinking about something else for 2013, but yeah, 2020 years. Love a nice screen share.
Oh no, it's 2007, June 29, 2007.
That's almost 20 years. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I mean, this was a game changer, right? Because you had apps like at your fingertips, and apps allowed us to do all these things.
Well, it's always a double-edged sword, and if I didn't have technology, I couldn't do this. If I didn't have technology, we couldn't do music. You know what I mean? Like if it adds the benefits that it adds to life are undeniable, but that like also requires us to be mindful of just not forgetting humanity. Like, we're just forgetting humanity. We're becoming so familiarized and integrated with technology that we're forgetting humanity.
Well, my thought was, when I see things like that, is that it's going to make real life experiences and humanity that much more valuable. Because it's going to be harder to find it, harder to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Like, you know, the real good human experiences will have to go to like the black market. And I'm all for that. I love that. I honestly, dude, AI is another one. I love AI. AI is cool. I use AI in various forms. But I hate now that every fucking news article I read was written by an AI. Or like every video I watch, there's somebody AI summarizing another video. It's becoming just so meta. We're forgetting humanity.
I mean, part of the joy of experiencing art and music and culture is that it was created by another person. So when it's created by robots, it just becomes, it becomes robotic. It becomes like cold, and, you know, it's like your mind and your body are in a jail cell. You can't get that human connection, man. I mean, again, to me, it's going to be a little bit crazy, sound like I'm harping on it, but then that comes back to family. Like, because even in the AI and robotic world, you know, the only people in the future that you might interact with are your family, right? There's no need to interact with the mailman, the milkman, this guy.
People at the grocery store, right, exactly.
Because they're not going to exist anymore, technically. Yeah. There's no need to talk to them. They don't need, the small talk is gone. You know, right? It's going to kill small talk. It's going to be gone. It's going to be like, here's your package. Thank you. And then that's it. You know, or a robot drops it off and it just keeps going. A drone drops it off outside your window, and, you know, I don't know. You know, I feel like it's making simpler cultures more interesting to people. More people want to disappear and go to this island, this remote island, or this, you know, this country that has, you know, that still has trees. You know what I mean? So, you know, like just stuff like that, you know? So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell where it's going, but again, very, very, very interesting times, man. What a time to be alive, you know?
That's what I have always felt, but I'm glad to hear you say that, because like not a lot of people, when I say that, I think a lot of people think I'm being sarcastic, but I actually am very excited. Like, what if we're alive for this kind of a shift in humanity? What a cool time to be alive. When we look back in history and all the shitty times to be alive, this one ain't so bad. You know, somebody, my best friend's dad used to say this to me all the time, or say this to us all the time. We live better than any king ever lived. And that can be simply boiled down to just indoor plumbing and air conditioning. Most kings did not have that, and a lot of people have that now. So
an elevator, an escalator, a plane,
the simple shit that we take for granted. Cars, right? Exactly. Modes of safe and reliable modes of transportation. Though planes are slowly declining. You know, they're not necessarily the most safe, right?
Like, yeah, you know, I agree with that statement, and we, you know, honestly, just, you know, people might not like this, but I'm just happy to be alive, because if I'm alive and I'm healthy, that gives me the chance to do whatever, man. Like, there's limitations to everything, and you might not get everything you want, but if you know, I think if you really put your mind to it, you can do it.
But you can achieve most things, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually said this to somebody the other day, and I'm like, I think the biggest problem that a lot of poor people have, or just, you know, people that grow up poor have, is that you don't know how many things you can actually do. That's the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Because there's so much you can do. You can get out of your situations, but, you know, not knowing that you could go to this convention, or, you know, like different ways to network, or just, you know, just different ways to let loose. You could travel. You can do stuff. Don't be afraid to do it. You know, it's just like, the world is your oyster, and if you put your mind and time to it, it definitely, you can do anything, go anywhere, be anybody almost, you know. So,
well, you know, that might be a real good segue, because I definitely wanted to hear your thoughts on the Kendrick Super Bowl. But for me, what's been amazing watching that performance and like the analysis of that performance is
they're going crazy on that.
And dude, like there's a handful of very authentic people who have been trying to do what you are talking about for a long time, and they're finally getting the fucking recognition and being put on a level or scale that could actually benefit tons of people. Kendrick Lamar has been spearheading artistry for the young generation for 20 fucking years now.
I mean, if it weren't for people like him, sheesh, where would we get it from, man?
Yeah, no, really. That's like he is the equivalent of a messiah in terms of art and
he's a living Basquiat, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that 100%.
Live running those guys like
100%.
Basquiat, Da Vinci, whoever, like one of the greatest artists, man. He's one of the greatest artists. His art form, obviously a little too harsh for some people, but that's what we're here for, man. We're here for
no good art is soft.
Right.
I've never felt that the soft art is just, it's forgettable, dude. Like the Kendrick's art, they'll be talking about for as long as humanity is talking about art.
Right. And it's crazy to me that like some people can't see it. Like, no matter what your take is on, let's say, Black Lives Matter, Black people in general, West Coast hip hop, like, you got to be able to see through it, see the art. Like, I go to a house music party and I don't just be like, oh, I don't like this. You know what I mean? Because it's not my main genre that I listen to. I try to find the good. Like, why do people like this?
Yeah.
So, and with Kendrick's art is people like it because, again, it's real, it's raw,
layered.
It doesn't feel like he needs to pretend to be somebody.
Yeah.
As a fact, he's doing the opposite. He's as private as he is, we know what he's about. We know what he's about. We know where he came from. We know what he's trying to do. And, I think he accomplished one of the biggest goals of any hip hop music artist's career and doing what he did with Drake. And again, like before I even talk about that, just like Drake is an amazing artist, dude. Drake is like,
there's no argument. Yeah.
Drake is like,
he's got the numbers to back that up for sure.
Right. Drake and The Weeknd, you know what I mean? Like those two guys are like pop royalty, you know what I mean? Like just numbers on numbers, great songs. Somebody I was talking to the other day, I'll quote them. They were like, he took on the wrong battle. I mean, we all think this. He took on the wrong battle, man. He thought he was ready for it. He wasn't ready for it. He's not that kind of artist. I don't know if he thought he was.
He did. He for sure did.
I mean, I tell people maybe I don't know. I was telling people that maybe he did it on purpose. Like, all right, well, I can't just shut up. Even if I'm going to lose, I have to fight this battle. Which, if you look at J. Cole is very smart, did not fight the battle.
Tapped right out. Yeah.
Tapped out. And that's going to be looked at as one of the best decisions ever.
Yeah.
Just to sit it out. And then, yeah, man, like, this, you line the songs up side by side, bar for bar. Kendrick dismissed him. But again, it was like a bigger goal, not just trying to make Drake look bad. It was more like, hip hop music, not necessarily has a stranglehold, but it has an influence on a lot of people. And if it's toxic, it's going to tend to make certain people more toxic, or just think more toxic, or just not care as much when they're toxic. And I think that, a lot of people saw that and were like, well, yeah, we like to have fun, but like, let's rein it back in a little bit. Let's give people artistry and music that's real, that's like rooted in real life. And I think that's what happened. That's what happened. If I could boil it down to the simplest, you know, like simple syrup, it's just like, yeah, like Drake was promoting dumb shit and Kendrick came and was like, I don't like that you're doing that anymore. And, you know, they had a battle and the good won. You know, not that Drake is evil, but, you know, some of the ways that I would say he looked at women.
The way he conducted himself, sure.
The way he conducted himself
is worth the scrutiny. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a little bit too arrogant, a little bit too loose with other people and how you treat them. And I don't know this directly because I don't know them, but just like based off of your music, like, you know, I know certain women love it, but like you saying some crazy stuff, you know, a lot of times. So
and you know, just behaves even outside of the music, behaves in public in weird and not necessarily ways that somebody that's an artist at his stature should be behaving. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them do, but they shouldn't, and they shouldn't for this exact reason, because when you're under that much scrutiny, it's only a matter of time before, if you spend that much time in the big spotlight in public life, like it's only a matter of time before people start scrutinizing what you're doing. And if you're doing some fucky shit, that's going to get scrutinized.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you know, again, when you think you're untouchable,
precisely, yeah, precisely my point. And you know, I think like I was never like a huge Drake fan, and my personal disdain for Drake actually comes from, I don't know if you worked this show. It was
I love
Forest Hills. Yeah, no, dude, it's all personal. It's all personal. There was an exchange between the crew of people that I was working with and Drake's camp at Drake and Lil Wayne's tour when they played Forest Hill Stadium.
That was insane, yeah.
It was a while ago. It was a super cool show. It was the shows where they were dressed up like Street Fighter, and like they had huge LED walls, and the whole show was like the Street Fighter video game.
That's pretty,
like all the animations behind it. It was a super cool production, and I guess
for that one, that was not.
It must have been like 2015, 2014.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It was a while ago. Anyways, maybe we'll tell the story at some other point, but it was like my interactions there. I was like, man, that's really silly. That's like really childish, unprofessional behavior in a scenario where most of the people, at least that I worked with, were very adult and conducted themselves very reasonably behind the stage. But
I understand.
Watching all of that fall out was kind of vindicating, because since 2014, at least, I've been like, I don't like what Drake stands for. I definitely don't like how he conducts himself. Something ain't right. I don't feel good, or maybe the way that I should, or like other people do when they listen to Drake music. And to watch all this shit play out was just so tasty. But also, it goes back to what I was saying. Like, I think there's a place for soft art. I'm not saying soft art should not exist. It's just not my thing. I prefer abrasive art. I prefer art that hurts me emotionally, maybe even a little bit.
Yeah.
I love stuff that is unique. And when I've listened to Drake's music, it could be any other artist and it wouldn't matter. When I listen to Kendrick's music, I know it's Kendrick, and I only want it to be Kendrick. And and again, I'm not the hugest. I don't own all of Kendrick's records, and I'm not like a huge Kendrick stan. But when his art would make me feel something, I could feel the emotion that he is trying to convey differently than any of Drake's music. And watching, dude, Meet the Grams. That might be my favorite song of the whole. Everyone wants to say Not Like Us. For me, it's Meet the Grams. The beat paired with his delivery is some of the most sinister shit I have ever heard, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like I feel like you very spot on, like where you said it in a different way. Where I just want to say like the culture Drake wasn't aligning with the culture, and by the culture, I mean black culture, you know, because American culture, but also black culture, because that's where it's rooted. Like, Drake is black at the end of the day too, you know, and I don't think he was aligning with black culture. Like, you know, like, and there's obviously there's various branches of it. It's not one thing, but you know, the main black culture that has gotten black people this far of you know, civil rights, family, religion, various different religions, just communalism, you know, those kind of things aren't in Drake's music, and they are in Kendrick's. And Drake is Canadian. Drake is not from here. You know, maybe that's one of the reasons. I'm not shading
no, but it could be. It very well could be.
But he's not from here, so maybe that's one of the reasons. Where it's like, you know, maybe you know, I can't say he doesn't understand, because his dad is from Memphis, I think. You know, so, but maybe he didn't have enough of it growing up to where like he could understand that, like, you know, you're representing this. You know, don't mess it up. Don't make it look bad. You know, and he's made great music, but then again, like, you know, to be a true art, I think that's what he's missing, man. You know, and why it might be, you know, not hard, because he's obviously he's rich. He had a successful career, but like, it might be like challenging for him to, hard and challenging, same thing, but it's gonna be challenging for him to bounce back, because you didn't have enough substance in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, enough, you know, enough of that to be like, well, this is who I am. Because now people are like, who are you? You know, after this whole situation, who are you? Well, okay, yeah, you can make nice R&B music, you know, melancholy kind of songs that women
can play at Target,
love, but like cater to women. But like, who, you know, outside of that, who are you? You know, we thought you were this big hip hop artist, and you know, the hip hop side, the rap side of it kind of took a major blow to me for him. Like, people don't want to hear you rapping anymore as much, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, for me, I feel like watching Kendrick's Super Bowl, we witnessed the beginning of the dying of the old guard. And by that, I mean, in the music industry, at least for the past 70, 80 years, profit has been king. Artistry has had its waves. The 60s, early 90s, there's pockets where true artistry emerges, but then it quickly gets commercialized by a bunch of corporate fucks trying to turn it into money. And with Drake, I feel like, and there's nothing wrong with this, because this is a portion of the music business. Some people just write music to make money.
Right, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, no, right.
And there's, especially if you're self-aware enough to be like, yeah, I write hits. I don't write albums. I don't write, you know, deep, thoughtful, introspective music. I don't create that kind of art. I create Andy Warhol shit. Bright colors, simple ideas, repetitions on a theme, stuff that any person could look at and immediately understand. But what I think is so, for me, the most exciting thing about Kendrick's performance at the Super Bowl is I feel like he is now ushering in a new era of authenticity. And this has been a thing that I've been watching people who study social trends. A lot of people have been talking about this recently, especially with our generation and the generations below us. They're going to want authenticity out of their art and their culture. And right now, the general culture is almost devoid of authenticity. It's all like what I was talking about, just regurgitated formulas or AI shit that, oh, well, this made money, so if we modify it a little bit and repackage it this way, we can make more money off of it. And what I think is going to happen over the next 10 years in art and media is there's going to be like a serious divergence. And I think people are going to get sick of the overuse of AI shit, and ultimately general culture is going to want to go back to a more authentic time where music sounds different, where things are maybe deliberately upsetting because the general or mainstream has become so bad. Dude, I just watched Gladiator 2 last night. It was all right.
I saw it, yeah.
It was all right. And, you know, I kept, Courtney was saying the same thing, like, why did they have to make this movie? Gladiator 1 was fine. Why did they need to poorly repack? Dude, the visual effects look bad.
I mean,
it's like tens of millions of dollars were spent on this movie, and the visual effects didn't even look that good. And the movie made 20 years ago looked better.
I think the rhino part was the best part to me, where the rhino came out.
Oh, yeah. With the gladiator riding the rhino.
Other than that, I don't remember like too much of the movie. I think I fell asleep 3 times trying to watch it.
Yeah. It was just meh. And I think people are going to get sick of it, especially with like.
I mean, AI is writing scripts too now, right?
That's the whole point of what I'm saying. Like all of these streaming services, every single one of them is trying to figure out. They've already pipelined, like it's a joke now in television production. Everyone having a Netflix show or everyone having a streaming show, they're just trying to pipe out content. They want to be able to offer more content than the other people, but they don't necessarily want to be able to offer better content. People are just going to get sick of it. We're going to get sick of it. We're going to be paying exactly what we were paying for cable, a million different channels of nothing. And even the shit that people say is good, that they tell us to go see in the movie theaters, we spend $40 on it and it sucks. So I don't know. I think it's going to shift back to authenticity. And what we witnessed at the Super Bowl was Kendrick welcoming that age. And that to me was like, I just getting chills as I was watching it, like, oh, this now mass culture is ready for this. Now mass culture is ready for like let's steer this ship back to more authenticity in everything. I don't know.
I think the further we go in the other path, the harder it's going to be to return to authenticity. But I agree with you, man. I mean, I'm all about authenticity, man. Like, I want to meet people in real life. I think that's why I go on so many cruises sometimes, like, on these vacations. And when I go, I don't want to stay at a resort. I want to walk around in the street.
Meet the people.
What food are you guys eating? You know what I mean? Because I eat that rich stuff sometimes and it hurts my stomach. I want to eat what the real people are eating. And what you said about art earlier is just like, people want authenticity, and getting the prepackaged stuff is just, it's not going to cut it after a while, man. Like, not shameless plug, like your podcast, this podcast, like, it's kind of, I feel like it's rooted a little bit in, not a little bit, but like, I don't know how much to you, but it's based in journalism, right? Like, and, talking to people, seeing how I feel about things.
Hearing your story. Yeah.
My story. How do I feel about AI, about Kendrick, about, how's my life going? Like those real stories, they're going to resonate, man. Robots, I mean, a robot's not going to live an interesting life. You know what I mean? AI is not going to give you anything new, really. At least the AIs that we can use.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right? Yeah.
It's not going to give you anything new until, like, it's not going to give you anything new. It'll just attack what's new and replicate it. I think things that attach onto things and replicate are called viruses. Am I wrong?
Well, or memes, like they have a mimetic quality.
Really?
The correlation is there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, how many times can you post the same meme, right? And you see it a few times in your feed from 5 different people. You're like, all right, on to the next. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, man, I think the authenticity is needed. And then, Kendrick kind of just, like his shows are just so amazing. I don't know,
dude.
I think they took it off of Amazon. But I don't know if you
The
saw
pop out, yeah, dude, that was fucking incredible too.
Not even the pop out, dude. His Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Have you seen that?
Oh no, I didn't watch that,
dude. I mean, like, you know, I'm bringing up Kanye just because. No, we don't need to go there right now. But but just because early on when he was doing like Yeezus and all that stuff, he tapped like some of the best like stage designers in the game, and he created some really beautiful sets. And I feel like Kendrick did that for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I did not see the tour in person. Totally regret that. Wish that I did. But like his level of artistry and performance, because that's where, you know, it's like the ultimate as an artist, as a musical artist, right? Is your stage performance. If you could achieve the music and the stage performance, then you're on top of the world. Think about the biggest artists, right? Michael Jackson, whoever. Yeah, I feel like Kendrick did that, and you know, just on a theatrical level, man. It's not just the music and me and a bunch of people dancing on stage, like the pop out, which was also fire, but it's more like deep storytelling, symbolism, just certain things like the Super Bowl halftime show, this is to Drake. You just gotta pay attention to the details to really like enjoy it. Or you could not, or you could just be like, hey, you know, I'm just taking it for what it is, and it's just beautiful imagery as well. But if you watch that, if you get a chance to try to find that and watch that, I don't know if it's still up on Amazon, but
I'm sure I can find it somewhere. I'm sure it's available to rent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but dude, watch that. Like, I would watch that every day. Like, if I say I'm about to go outside, I'm getting ready, just pop that on because I would just get inspired by it. It's such a great performance. It's like the Super Bowl, just like a longer. Yeah,
dude, he has a vision. Like that's what's always clear to me. For me, I can look at an art project and tell if that person had a clear vision from the beginning. Gladiator 2, don't think they did. But Kendrick Lamar, I think he does every time when he's trying to put something out there. It has a very cohesive message, and I gotta say, I prefer music or art like that every time. I will happily burn Gladiator to the ground if it means I get another, you know, any Kendrick anything.
Right. Or you know, I guess, you know, what's a movie that's authentic, right? That, you know, that we could say like.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's it. It hasn't been many recently. I'll tell you that much. Like, for me, it's really hard. I don't like rehashes. There are very few remakes I think were even justified, and I'm convinced that in every movie studio for the past 20 years, there's just a bunch of assholes sitting around saying, we did this movie in the 80s and we made money. Let's just rehash it. It's ridiculous. I cannot remember the last time I went to a movie theater and was like, wow, that was a really good movie.
I mean, we need something in between Transformers and you know, Marvel movies, right? Like we need, you know,
please. Yes, please.
Right? These huge blockbusters that are just like nonstop action and like, you know, I guess funny, cool stories. We need something real, right? Like, yeah, you're right. I mean, we grew up a different generation, bro. I feel like a lot of the movies, I can still watch those movies. Some of them are a little bit cheesy, but like those 90s movies, that's why I don't know how kids these days are, but like I'll rewatch those movies. Coming to America, you know, like Fresh, you know, any Eddie Murphy, you know what I mean? Any Eddie Murphy's movies from the 90s, you know, like, yeah, like I just rewatch a lot of that stuff because it's like, it's just authentically funny. It's authentically funny. And it just, I don't know, even though it felt cheesy in the way it was produced, it just felt realer. It just felt, you know, it just felt more, it didn't feel as polished. And like, you know, I feel like anything too polished, like some of these action movies.
For sure. Michael Bay stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It just becomes like, what is this? Like, you know, I don't want to be that swept up in my imagination.
Dude, absolutely. I have never really been a fan of any of the superhero movies. Marvel stuff is just doesn't do it for me. And definitely the same with like Transformers. Anything that flashy has just always But like I even think about it too, like the movies that I love from the 90s are the movies that have like a very raw quality to it. It's a lot of like Scorsese stuff. Not, you know, everyone wants to default to The Godfather, but I'm a Goodfellas and Casino person. I think that's a more raw and authentic look at the brutality of that life than even The Godfather was.
Was that movie Heat?
Well, Heat's tricky because that is some of like the flashy action movie offenders, but it's debatably the greatest heist movie ever made. Right. And I went with a buddy. We went to, they did a premiere where De Niro, Pacino, and what's his name, the director, it was at a theater up in Harlem. It was for, I think, last year's Tribeca or 2 years ago's Tribeca's. It was just like a one-off show. They played Heat in the theater. It was sick. But
actually, I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah,
that was super cool. And you know, I that is funny because Heat, even though it's debatably one of the best heist movies of all time, it doesn't really get as much credit as other lamer heist movies, and like tons of content that came after it that was like totally ripping off Heat.
Oh yeah.
But the cheap knockoff got the better, you know, the better shake. But even documentaries, like when I'm watching a documentary, I don't necessarily want to watch a documentary where everyone's sitting down in perfect makeup. Like, take that camera and go to their house. Like, surprise them and go to their house. What does their house look like right now? What are they doing right now?
Vice will never be the same, bro.
Yeah, no. Well, and
early days of Vice was like,
that's a great point.
Like, should I be watching this right now?
Dude, I used to love those early Vice documentaries because it was incredibly raw. And when it's that raw, you're not faking authenticity. Whatever you're capturing is the authentic experience there.
Dude, no double takes, no retakes.
No, hell no. Hell no. But I was so happy to see that performance. I thought it was visually stimulating in all the ways I wanted it to be. Like, from a production standpoint, what were your thoughts on it?
You know, again, man, like he put so much thought into, like, you know, and for Super Bowl, it's like, you know, I know some people were like, oh, this is not what I want to see. But for the Super Bowl, it was actually probably one of the best performances ever because the amount of detail that they put into even where every person stood, was like, you know, and I had to rewatch it because the first time I watched it, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel like, oh, this is super crazy choreographed because I didn't know what I was seeing yet.
Sure.
But then when you look back, like one of the things that stood out to me the most was him in the middle of the American flag, made out of people, right? People on the right, people on the left. And that to me represented, and I know somebody online analyzed it and said this too, but you know, this was kind of stuck with me that he's rapping in the middle of, or he's in the middle of America divided.
Yep.
That was the most important, like subtle, you know, like kind of, you know, effect or just message that I got from him. And I was like, you know, I was like, yeah, I mean, that, you know, that's it. It's America divided. You know, America, one of the other ones was like, it was an American flag made out of black people, saying that, like, you know, black people help make America, you know, which is, you know, it's true. We've been here for as long as the country has existed. So like those little kind of messages that he like slid in there were very important to me. Like, I can't even tell you, like, I mean, oh no, I was gonna say, I can't even tell you when I thought about him dissing Drake in the whole performance.
Yeah.
Then when he did Not Like Us and he said, "Hey Drake," it was just like, you know.
The smile, honestly, dude, that was
even that was planned out. Like, he knew he was
so, you know, beautiful.
Telling people, "Oh, I'm not gonna perform that song." Yeah, right. We know. Why would you not? Like, it's the popular song in the country. I don't know. Like, did the youth even, like, did the younger generation even have any like effect on? Like, is it because of them and they like it? Like, why is that the most popular song right now? I'm just curious.
Well, I think what kind of goes back to what I was saying before. whether people realize it or not, we're sick of the same old manufactured bullshit, and we want authenticity. The reason that song took over the fucking country the way that it did is because people are subtly and subconsciously sick. We want some authenticity. And fucking Kendrick comes out with authenticity. That's why everyone loved it, because everyone was like, oh my God, thank you. Like Drake put out that new album the other day. The listenership dropped 40% the next day.
Yeah.
I think people are just sick of it. They're tired of being milked for money. They want some authenticity. They want to support good art. But the problem is that the channels for the distribution of art are controlled by people who are just trying to extract money out of us. So
And people that Drake is now.
yeah, right. And when, you know, people had another option and they clearly chose another option because people are just, we want some authenticity.
So what do you do as the music label now? You have to give the people what they want, right? You have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, that's really where the danger comes in, because it's like, you know, we could see it in like the beginning of rap and hip hop. We can see it in grunge. We can see it in hair metal. We can see it in the onset of every genre. What the labels are going to try and do is they might be able to find or source a few like truly authentic artists, but then they're going to try and turn it into a formula, like they always do.
Right.
You know, oh well, we need to manufacture the most authentic artist. You know, we've seen it a million times in our own lifetime. Boy bands. There was another one. You know, like that was
real artists you can't control. Right?
That is true. They're the Princes and the Kendricks. You know, they're the people that will actively fight at great expense to just make sure they can say what they want to say, how they want to say it.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, I think that's, to me, what's important there is also like, you know, as a people, how long can we keep them at a state where they can do that? You know what I mean? Because there's control by the label, but then there's also some control we have as people because we consume it.
Yep.
But like, does that matter? Like, if they start speaking out too much? Obviously, no, because we know how some of those situations play out. But yeah, man, just, you know, I think it's good that we can still get real artistry in this day and age, especially when things are gonna get increasingly formulaic and like just programs.
Yeah, dude. And again, like the Super Bowl performance, like he for sure inspired at least another wave of kids in a younger generation to do some authentic art. Like that is for sure one of the things that happened while we were all watching that.
Well, you know, and he's in our age bracket, so it would, you know, I'm just saying that to point out that like it will be up to the younger generations to keep that, like, to take that with them and keep that, you know, I hope that they can keep that, you know, moving forward. You know, it's just, I don't know. It just, I know I'm gonna sound old. You know, I don't care. But like, you know, certain things that like older generations try to pass down to us, then like to instill in us to keep with us in our lives. And like, I feel like it worked. You know, we're 90s, 80s babies, 90s kids, grew up playing outside in the street and stuff like that. And, you know, that was valuable to us. That's valuable to us now when we don't see other kids doing it. So,
Yeah.
You know, what I hope that some of that they take with them and they're like, you know, we want to keep this going because, you know, in humanity, you know, the more we go into AI and robotics and technology, yeah, the more you lose it. It's just, you know, it goes hand in hand, or hand in robot hand or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, for sure. Hand in animatronic hand.
Animatronic, yeah.
This is going to be like a really hard pivot, but I really have to get your thoughts. So
Let's do it.
I had Dakota on here, and like we did a deep dive into the history of Diddy, like all the context.
Oh, man.
What are your thoughts on this shit?
Out of time.
And and as we're talking about this, like I guess yesterday or 2 days ago, one of his lawyers quit, who was also a lawyer for Osama bin Laden.
I mean, he didn't get off, so.
Yeah, I guess that is true. That was a dead end. But I'm just interested to hear what your thoughts are with that now that we've heard a little more of it come out, and what your hopes are for the future of that scenario.
Honestly, it's just like it's sad, man. I gotta admit it's sad because as much as I want to laugh and be like, it's sad. It's a sad situation. It's, and like I said in the last episode, like, sometimes people, the same could even be said about Drake. Not, whatever allegations, whatever, but like, you get too powerful, you get too big, you kind of get these issues, man, where it's just like the accountability goes out the window, right? You're not holding yourself accountable. People around you not holding you accountable, not holding themselves accountable. It's just like, we have money, we are famous, we have power. I can do all these things, and again, it's sad for the people that are victims. It's sad for your family, and for your family's ashamed. People that work with you that had nothing to do with it, ashamed. The fallout is pretty big. There's no coming back from it, man. There's really no like. I don't know. I don't think anybody's come back from something like this ever in history.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, listen. What happens in the dark eventually comes to the light, man. And whether some of these things are true or not, like, because there's so much of it, like, I don't really care. I would just like to, I hope people get their justice, and people learn from it. I hope people learn from it. Don't do shit that you don't want out there. Don't do it. Don't even do it. Just avoid it. And yeah, man. I mean that's kind of my big lesson from this whole situation. But you have like a specific question that like.
Well, for me, like, I look at it, and it's like another area where authenticity, the desire for authenticity,
Right.
is like rearing its head. Like, he was living the lie. He was smiling in everyone's face and then beating women behind closed doors, like physically and mentally hurting people.
I like that angle because I'm picturing it in my head, and I'm like, you're right. Like, you see him dancing.
It was a lie. It was a lie.
I mean, listen, these are performers, man.
Sure.
Just like, just like the athletes. The athletes are performers as well. And, yeah, I mean, the best actors, right? The best actors probably make the worst people to date.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
I don't know when you're being authentic. You're so good at
being somebody else. Yeah.
Or just being somebody else, right? Or just, pretending that I don't know when you're being real. And, yeah, man, I mean, you can't, anybody that's like beating women in public and then doing it behind doors. No, you got, they got to put on this face. Like, I'm not doing that. And again, like, money, power, influence, help them hide that, and Lord knows how many more people were doing it. I want to say less people are doing it now because maybe they're like, okay,
the scrutiny is up. Yeah.
I'm gonna get caught. Pre Weinstein, Epstein era, that shit was just like, and I was in the industry. You're in the industry. I can't say I've seen anything that crazy, but I've definitely heard.
We've seen shades of that.
Shades, yeah. But I've heard people just say like, oh yeah, that's how the industry is.
Yep.
That is no longer the case. That's how the industry was. And, I feel like along with that, equally as, I won't say more, but equally as important are the people that are the decision makers, the controllers, whatever, in some of these spaces has changed because people who like, who let Diddy in the room, who gave him all that money, who continue to, like, Like you didn't know that was going on. Like, well, you got to do your due diligence because
Right.
this is the person you were funding. The money didn't just appear in his lap, you know. And again, like it's business, so it's like business and personal sometimes don't mix. But again, like gotta know who you're dealing with. Like, you know, I'm sure there's people who are in business with Diddy or whoever that had gotten caught up. They're like just now asked out. You know, they have, you know, what are you gonna do next? You have to figure out what you're gonna do next. Your last project was a Diddy project. What's your next project? You know, so you know, obviously people not gonna like, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater, I guess, and be like everybody that ever worked with him is now blackballed, you know, like he is. But you know, it's tough to come back from those situations. So
it really is, you know. And again, like I don't really have problems with people who are vocal about how much of an asshole they are. Like,
right.
you know, people who are dicks. If you say you're a dick and you behave like a dick, I'm not surprised, and I don't necessarily disrespect you because you did say that you were a dick. But I have a particular annoyance with people who pretend to be one way and are the complete opposite. And it's also been my experience too. I'm sure you've had experiences like this. There's been plenty of people, artists that I've met working this shit who I was scared was going to be mean. They were like the nicest people. They were consistently the nicest people. And all the people that were pretending to be nice when I had to interact with them, they and their teams were complete shitheads. So I would prefer anytime an uncomfortable truth to a comfortable lie. And, you know, Epstein and Weinstein were waves. Diddy's a wave. There will be more waves, I'm sure. But you know, to your point, it's still happening in the entertainment industry, I'm sure, but it's becoming harder, and that's the benefit of scrutinizing this shit. Like, you're telling me that within 5 years we can go from this being the way the industry is to like having multiple huge names who are very terrible people be singled out and hopefully with the appropriate justice based on what they did to people. That's great. That's progress. To me, those are all like really good things, and it kind of reinforces the idea that people are just sick of the illusion. We just want some everything in our reality is an illusion. All the shit we see on the internet, it's not real. It's what they want us to see. And that's from major corporations selling you ads to individual people on Instagram. You're not seeing the hard times. You're seeing the highlights.
Well, I think to touch on that, I think that, I mean, you're right. Like the scrappier, like more authentic creator, I think it now has a time to shine.
Yeah.
Like now is your time to shine. Like that, all that polished stuff is kind of like people are tired of it. The same fitness instructor, the same, you know, financial coach online trying to reel you into something. You know, during the pandemic, it was needed. You know, people needed something. Give me something to do. But like now, you know, now people are returning to the streets. I mean, they've been, but returning to the streets and, you know, they want something real, man. We want something real. We don't want cake. We want bread, you know? So, you know.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's real. You know, you've heard that.
I love that. Yeah, no, dude, I love that.
So, yeah, man. And it's like, you know, like even what you said about like, meeting somebody or like, or just working with an artist and then pretending, or whoever, a camp, and then pretending to be nice, but then them being mean, rather than them being mean and just being like, I'm mean. You know what I mean? Like, because the person pretending to be nice is lying to you.
Yeah, right.
Nobody likes to be betrayed or lied to like that.
That's my point.
I'd rather you tell me you're mean and then I'll just limit
I will handle you accordingly. Right.
Right. Because it feels, if, you know, it just, that's one of the worst feelings in the world is to be tricked, to be, you know, whether you're catfished or stiffed on money. Nobody likes that. Or you buy a product that you're like, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's a Temu thing, or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's one of the worst feelings because our time is valuable. And once you invest your time like that into something, or even you've trained your mind that this is what it is. And then, you have to backpedal. It sucks. So.
Well, and dude, so much of our society is like that. Even the ads, like, bro, fast food ads, that food doesn't look like that. It's never looked like that. If you watch how they make fast food ads, it doesn't look like that because it's fucking made up. Like, it's fake. It's not real food in the ads. Some of it's CGI. Some of it's like very clever props to make it look more appealing. Everything is a lie. And I feel like people are just getting sick of it. I wouldn't be mad at McDonald's if they took a picture of what that meal looked like after it got served to me through a drive-through window, because I'd be like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. This looks real. This. I respect that more than you trying to present it to me like this is artisanal burger. And it's
that would honestly, that would be a great campaign for them. I don't think they'd ever do it, but
hell no. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, people are just getting sick of it. And as silly as it is, like, people just don't, like you were saying, no one likes being lied to. And if you lead with truth, whatever that truth is, it might be uncomfortable. I've been really, personally, I have been trying to do that more. Like, I'm like, if I want to live in a more authentic world, then I need to every day find ways to make sure I'm being authentic to myself and to the people I interact with. And I've been trying this really hilarious thing where, like, I have these hilarious intrusive thoughts. I mean, you've worked with me. So, like, there's things I want to say that might not necessarily be the best thing to say at that moment, but I've just been trying to, like, remain intuitive. And when I think something should be said, I say it, and I'm willing to, defend my position. And 9 times out of 10, every time I think it's not going to go over well, it goes over really well. And whatever it is, like, even if it's a criticism, I'm not being mean about it, but I just say, well, I hear that perspective, but here's my thought. It doesn't matter if you disagree with me. This is just my perspective. It always seems to go over better, or has been, at least in the last year. I've been really trying to do it more. Well, because people appreciate truth and honesty and a judgmental-free dialogue especially about tricky subjects.
Right. I think I'm going to simplify it a little bit, but also make it a metaphor where, like, if I have a booger in my nose that you can see while I'm talking to you, like, tell me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I love that.
Like tell me the truth up front. Let me know. Like, you know why? Because I think that works because it lets people know. Like, see, that's the thing is, like, I don't know. Maybe this is where humanity divides and the Terminator happens or some crazy shit. But, like, knowing that people are on your side, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it feels like to know that, like, a robot's on your side.
Yeah.
And, maybe an army of robots, but, like, just knowing that, like, this person that I'm in this space with sees me, they know me, and they want the best for me, or, they just want to,
or they don't want harm. At least they don't want harm caused to me.
Right. Exactly. Yes. So. But if you know that, then it's just like a weight off your shoulder. It's just, and it also could propel you to move forward in a positive way. So, I think, again, it's important, man. It's important to, human connection. That might be the theme of this podcast right here, bro, because, yeah, like, that's extremely important. And as you get older, the less you get that anyway, right? There's less people in your life. Right? Especially less people that are going to be like, hey, you can do it, kind of like help you up in those kind of ways. It's going to be less and less. Hopefully your spouse or, whoever's around you, your immediate friends and your family. But, again, that lessons and lessons. So, you got to appreciate when it happens. You got to look for it in certain spaces, and you have to give it to people. You have to give people their flowers while you're with them. And you know, I don't know. It's like I you know, in my life, you know, in recent years, like I've been on this kick where I just can't be negative. Like I can't, you know, it's impossible for me to be negative. Like even in a bad situation, I have to find the way out. I have to find the positive in it. Obviously, some certain ones there is none, but even, you know, like the positive situation about a bad situation where there is no positive situation is that you can move on from it.
Right.
Right. So that's that, you know, but like, you know, I think it's really important to like not let negative energy, negative thoughts enter your space. And I know, you know, there's tons of life coaches that say it, but like it really is true, man. Because that, you know, you're riding a wave or you're climbing up a hill. The moment something stops you, it becomes that much harder to keep your momentum to go up.
Yeah.
Like you're riding your bike up a hill. You get caught on that one pedal, you know, trying to get over.
Say goodnight.
You know, then you got to start all over. You got to hop off the bike and you know, walk down the hill or something. Or walk up. But like, you know, I don't know. That's kind of the kick I've been on. Just keep that positive energy going. And a part of that is spreading it to other people. And just like, you know, if somebody's down, it doesn't hurt you to be like, hey, what's going on? All right, maybe, you know, give them a little advice. Give them a little ego boost, a comment about, you know, hey, you're wearing something, you know, I like those sneakers. Goes a very long way, man. Very long way. You'd be surprised. So
yeah, dude, kindness is free.
Right. For now.
Yeah, for now. They're not charging us for that yet.
So, you know, yeah. So, you know, use that, you know, kindness is just, again, a positive energy that you're spreading to people that are in your space. So,
well, and I would say, like, you've definitely always been really good at that. I remember being on some very stressful work sites, and, you know, us being able to chat was like the only, like, oh, okay, cool, good. At least I know I'm not fucking crazy. Yes, this is a crazy situation, but at least I know I'm not crazy.
I mean, we crack each other up, so it's like,
but that's
you know,
it got me through. I don't know if they were super hard for you, but it got me through some like really difficult jobs sometimes.
I mean, my early career was definitely difficult, like more difficult than I want to admit, even though I'm admitting it. Like, it was just like, it was rough. It was rough. You know, certain people that I started with aren't here now. You know, that hit me the most. But, you know, again, like, it's part of growth. Part of growth is being able to adjust and, you know, grow out of the hard times, man. Because, you know, I'll be like, that's when I wish, not that, you know, I appreciate you guys, obviously, everybody that I came up in with, but I can't even say that it wasn't there, because if it wasn't there, then maybe I wouldn't be here where I am now.
Sure.
But sometimes I feel like I think back about that and I wish that there was more people promoting just that positive energy and like, you know, trying to get you out of a state where you're thinking negative thoughts and negative possibilities and negative outcomes, when, you know, and to be honest, I can't say that I didn't have that, because I made it to where I am now. But just in hindsight, sometimes you don't realize it, but then you're like sifting through your memories and you're like, oh wow, this person was there and they were encouraging me and this and that and the third, and then you're just not catching it in the moment sometimes. But
yeah,
you know, but I feel like, you know, that again, that's what helped me get through it. Again, like, you know, chatting with dudes like you, just dreaming up different crazy ideas for the future. So,
well, and you also bring up a good point too, because now that I'm thinking about it, like Dan and Matt were also pretty hardcore masters at that. Like, regardless of how crazy whatever was going on, both of them were like looking at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And been like, we'll get there. We're gonna be fine. I mean, there was definitely an entire period of time where if I showed up to a site and I saw you, Dan, or Matt, I knew the shit was gonna be okay. Like, we were gonna survive, and it wasn't gonna be that bad.
Yeah.
And it, you know, definitely did not appreciate that until way later, but.
Thank you. I'll be honest. When I saw you, I was just like, "Oh man, we're cutting it up."
There's going to be some point, yeah.
We're going to get in trouble. We're going to be mad at this, but it's going to be a great time. So,
but you know, it could not be more true. You're completely right. Yeah, I was not a master of that, and the reason I'm saying this about you guys is because I was not a master about that. I'm certainly not a master about it now, and you know, because of the reinforcement of the people around me, including my wife. You know, the past 2 years, I've gotten better about a more positive self-dialogue than I've ever been in my entire life. And what you were saying too about finding the silver lining, yeah. I will constantly get caught up running hypothetical negative scenarios in my mind that are completely pointless. Like I'm spitballing to a scenario that is so unrealistic it's not even worth entertaining. But right. The thing that I've been doing to snap myself out of it is there's no way out but through. We will get through whatever shit this is. We will get through it. It might not be easy. It certainly won't be fun, right. But we're gonna get through it and we're gonna be fine. And even just telling myself there's no way out but through is enough sometimes to kind of break me from it and like regain my like, oh yeah, everything is okay. I'm just being a worrisome asshole for no reason, you know.
Right. I think that goes also back to just, you know, being around the right group of people.
Definitely.
You know, I've been in situations where I'm with the wrong group of people and I'm just like, all right, I can make it through this. I just gotta, you know, keep the blinders on and just not let it get to me. But I mean, I'll tell you, man, like working with the right group of people, will just make it feel like cloud nine, like you're just floating through it, man. And I think that's important. And to me, that goes a little bit back to like, you know, the small things, just being seen, man, just being seen important to so many people. And, I feel like a lot of times, especially in work situations, people don't realize that. And, that's important. That was important to me. I think for me early on in my career, that was important to me. And, you know, I did not get it. So maybe that's why I had a little bit more time in like a negative loophole. But, you know, again, I just think that that's important. If you could give that to people, even in the smallest way, you know, the restaurant worker, the this, the that, like, you know, it's work. Nobody wants to work. I mean, actually, some people want to work. I'm kind of a maniac. I want to work sometimes. Where you just want to be able to work on something, right? That's like, it's one of the purposes of life. But, you know, just like, but being seen, you know, nobody wants to work and not be seen. Right? Because then
that's a good distinction.
That should be a robot job, if that's the case, right. So, but yeah, I mean, the right group of people has always just kept me going, man. And sometimes you have to seek it out. Sometimes there's the right group of people with a few bad apples in it, and you just have to kind of just keep it close knit. But the right group of people, you know, just in your family, in your workspace, in your neighborhood, you know, and it's not everybody, right? So you got to find them. But that will just, I don't know, man. That'll keep you in the right loops, the right, you know, again, your Instagram feed, all of that stuff. I have vices. I have stuff that I consume that it's not really helping me. But the more I refine it, you know, turn myself into AI, into a robot where I'm just seeking out just the good energy. Like it puts me at peace, man. It makes me, you know, it makes me feel glad to be alive again. You know, just enjoying life. That's what I can enjoy in life. So.
Well, and there's so much of the, especially the social media architecture is just there to like suck our attention and like try and replace the natural joy that we would find in life. It's trying to replace it so that you would prefer, you'd prefer scrolling instead of going out and hanging with your friends or, you know, sitting in a room and playing music with somebody. So I don't know. I even with social media, dude, Courtney like fucked me up because she's a wizard. She's like an absolute wizard with all things social.
I believe you.
And, you know, I was like really struggling analysis paralysis when I first started this show to like figure out how would I post? Because I've never been like a obsessively compulsive poster of stuff.
Right.
But she was like, social media is social. It can be social. It really, she uses it in ways that like I had never even fucking thought of.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And it's all just being social, authentically, instead of just mindlessly scrolling, like picking specific content, authentically engaging with it, and authentically engaging with other people. Like you can use the internet and social media to have those kinds of interactions.
Right. I mean, that's the thing too. Is like it's like working out. Like, it's easy to not work out, right? It's difficult to work out on a high level and maintain muscles and muscle mass and physique. Social media and life, honestly, in general, are the same thing. Where it's like it's easy to just go on and scroll, but how can I make this useful? One way that I started doing it was, or I just started dividing. So like I have more than one Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use them all frequently, but like if I'm seeing something and I'm like, well, I probably should consume this every day, I'll send it to one of my other Instagrams that I'm like, all right, well, but this is related to travel and fashion, so I'm going to send it to this one. And if I feel like consuming that, then I'll go onto that Instagram.
Interesting.
Yeah, people probably going to steal this idea. People probably been doing this already for years, but also
you're gaming the feed.
Yeah,
you're gaming the feed.
So now my feed is mostly people that I love. You're in there, so
damn, dude.
It's mostly because
you've reclaimed it.
Because I was getting away from it, bro. I was like, who are these people?
Yeah,
I'm not seeing people that I know anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
So you're right. I game the feed. And now like if it's basketball related, like my personal page is always gonna have basketball. I'm just huge basketball guy.
Yeah, that's part of your existence.
But I don't want to see every basketball meme that comes across. So now, like you said, like just dividing it like that kind of helped me reclaim a lot of my time and just the sanity, bro. Because I'll be honest, like some of the stuff that I sent to these other Instagram feeds, I'll never see it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll never see that stuff again. And then like if I felt like you were a person, like I follow like 20 personal trainers. Okay, well, I only need to follow like 3 or 4 probably. The other 16, 17, I sent to my other page.
Right.
I unfollowed it, sent it there. If I ever feel like I need to see that again,
you got it.
I got it. It's like a storage closet for like all the different Instagram.
No, dude, it's a genius approach.
Yeah, it's because
that that's a thing that happens frequently now on every social media app. I'm scrolling through. I'm like, who the fuck? I follow this? What the fuck is this? How did this even happen?
I mean, it's like your catch-all draw where it's just like, you know what I mean? Like I might need this needle to sew something,
but don't need it right now.
I'm not gonna need it for 364 days. So where do I put it? I put it over here, and I'll get it when I feel like I need it. But I won't just let it be in my way every day.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, it is really funny. It is really funny. That is super relatable. Like everyone's feed right now is like it's so far removed from what it should be. Like your close circle, the close social circle of people that you genuinely want to interact with.
Right. How many times do you see them? Probably not.
Dude, that's what's fucking me up is like, cause I will feel that occasionally when I'm scrolling, but talking about it with you right now is making me realize I never see them.
Yeah.
I would have to like go in there and probably delete or at least mute from my page 75 on Instagram. At least 75% of the shit on there is like people that I don't know doing shit I don't really care about.
And I'll tell you what, you know what? You think, man, it is so easy to follow. It is so hard to unfollow. That's the trick. That's how
the trick. Yeah.
That's how they get you, bro. I've been doing this for months now, and I still have not dwindled it down enough. So, but yeah, I mean, that's, you know, again, that's one way I've been working on myself and just working on just getting back to humanity, man. Like these are people I actually know. This is why I signed up for Instagram and Facebook so that I can see these people. I only have Facebook now because certain members of my family only have Facebook. And that's okay with me. I don't really check it every day. I'm not going to delete it because sometimes I want to see what's going on with them.
Sure.
Or I might want to, DM them or something like that and just say, just talk to them really quick. So.
Yeah. I again, even that is like, we got so clouded with the falsehood of social media, we forgot the authentic human portion of it, which is it can connect us. Like we, as people, we can be more connected, but somehow it made us less connected. So I don't know, using it to be more connected with the shit that you really care about. That is a useful application. So,
and the business application of it is still there and very,
sure.
But like, I feel like, you just kind of, I think people that do it the best separate that.
Yeah.
Or either they separate it or you're so famous that it's kind of ingrained together and you just got to accept it and maybe just have again, like a Finsta or something on the side. But yeah, I think the people that do it the best are the people that separate the business and the personal. This is my business page. This is strictly the business. And I know it's hard because when you're just starting out, a lot of your fan base, you want to be the people that I know, the people that know me. It's easy. It makes sense. But sometimes also, I feel like that's also not the best approach. And the best approach is to start with people that don't know you.
Yeah.
People that you're fresh to, because I mean, they don't know if you're a real estate expert or not. Right. So, you can just kind of, in business, just move a little bit easily that way. So.
What this is we live in really crazy times right now. What are your hopes for 2025?
2025. I hope people just, I'll say what I hope people do, and then I'll say what I hope I do. I hope people just just realize, like, we're all on the same page, man. We're all in the same boat. Yeah, things are changing, but. We just gotta adjust. We just gotta keep it going, man. Just, don't let it stress you out too much. Keep your circle tight. Keep what's important to you. Just like, really, again, family, friends, your fun hobbies. Just keep it close and just do that, man. The same things you did through the pandemic. Like, things have changed, but they haven't changed. You know. So just that, and then I think for myself, I'm hoping that I don't know. I feel like big changes are coming this year. Every few years, I feel like that happens to people. I think I'm due for one. Just life wise. And then, I just hope I hope to have a good time, and I hope I have a good time. See a lot of the people I love. I can't say 2025 is that much different from the past few years, just because I want the same things. I want to see the same people, not the same memes or the same Instagram page, but the same people, want new music. I have been in the lab producing a little bit more.
Hell yeah.
It's my hobby for life. So I'm just, I just do it. I love it. New music, and new people. I want the same people, but also I want new people. I want people that appreciate growth in my life, that appreciate life in my life. And yeah, man, more success. More money. Obviously, we need more. Always need more money, but the other things first. The other. I want my nephews and my nieces to grow up healthy and then just just be the best they can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I want for you. I want this podcast to blow up even more than it already has.
Too kind.
25.
Well, and it's again, it's like another reason I do this is like, dude, I look around at all the people I know and they all do such cool shit and they all live such interesting lives, and they're all, I think I am a goddamn great arbiter of authenticity, and the people that I have cultivated around me, nothing pleases me more than watching them succeed, being living whatever their authentic truth is.
Sometimes you don't know. And
yeah, no, sure.
Life is just going to guide you to it.
You just got to trust the process.
Right.
And I mean, there's so many of my friends, what they're doing now is not what they started doing. You know, they found their way to doing whatever it is that they're pursuing now. But I don't know, man, just like getting to watch your feed and watch the travels, like you're out there, you're living life. And that pleases me. And I feel very fortunate that so many of the people in my circle are all out there living their life in whatever way is best for them. And it's just interesting stories. This is,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
dude, this is like, and I've always we met plenty of people doing events. We knew they weren't going to last long, but there's a certain echelon of us that can just work. We're very good workers. It doesn't matter the stress. It doesn't matter what celebrities are there. It doesn't matter the scale of the thing we're doing. We just do good work. And seeing you be able to figure out a way to thrive doing that has just been sick. It's just been sick to watch. It's the same thing with like Dakota and the boxing shit.
That's what I was going to say. Shout out to Dakota and the podcast,
dude.
Man.
And like, to be completely real, like he's a huge. He's going, so I'm going. Like the times where I'm doubting, should I keep doing this? I see that he's posted a new episode and he's working on a new documentary. And it's like, okay, well, he's doing it. I'm doing it.
I mean, dude, I could, just from our conversation, just from this conversation, the last podcast, just from knowing you, like you love this, bro. Why would you stop? You love doing this.
I love hearing stories. This is exactly what we were talking about before we started recording. I love hearing stories, and I got a ton of friends who have a shit ton of cool stories.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stories might never make it to camera, but
most of them won't.
but there's still plenty of content, yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you for having me on the podcast, man. It's really dope. I appreciate you in life.
Yeah, the same. I've always appreciated your perspective, and getting to share it here is we're documenting it, dude.
Yeah, you have one of the coolest voices in podcasting right now. So definitely people need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So man. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. I love seeing you, thrive also. And I was at your wedding, beautiful wedding.
Yeah, we cut it up. That was so much fun.
Marriage. Oh my God. Yes. I don't know how many drinks I had. Wow.
We closed that bar.
Yeah, we had to close it. We had to
close that bar out for sure.
Oh yeah.
But why don't you give people the shout out where to check out your socials? I'll of course leave those links in the description below, but just tell people if they want to follow your travels, tell them where to check it out.
It's just Mo from Brooklyn, man. Mo, M-O from Brooklyn. Yeah, follow me there. I post interesting stuff sometimes. Sometimes it's just pictures of my dog. But either way, it's always a good time. I'm always trying to make it interesting. So yeah, follow me.
Love it, dude. I love that. I love you. Thank you for coming on the show again. And we'll do this again in a couple months.
I can't wait for episode 3. Here we go.
Hell yeah. Take it easy, everyone. This has been the TLB Pod. We'll catch you on the next one.
This has been the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. The end. With your host, James Oliva. Executive producers, Clint G and James Oliva. That's obnoxious. Sound design, mix, and master by James Oliva. Literally no one cares. For more Totally Legitimate Business, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Totally Legitimate Business or add us on TikTok at TLB Pod. When will this end? Thank you for listening. Now get back to work. Move it along, buddy.